Hello, so this is kind of a random video, but I just want to show it because I think it's really cool. This is my time travel game. I will link in the description for the context because this doesn't really make much sense to anybody if you don't know the context, but it's basically based off of 5D chess with multiverse time travel. This video will probably be a bit rambly, but I will be making a video that kind of goes more in depth in this game. To give a little bit of context, I need this box to go onto the blue circle. There are also enemies, and then there's mines. You can see that I've spawned on top of a mine, which kind of sucks because I have to dodge out of the way instantly, which you can see on my next turn. But you can also see that after day 4, this blue circle has disappeared completely. So I have to actually get the box there on these days because otherwise it will disappear. It's not super easy to tell, but I have beaten this level. You can see on my very last timeline, the guy is sitting on it with the box. You can see that every single one of these points in time are aligned on these lines. This marks what day they're happening in. So it doesn't matter that it took 10 timelines to actually get the box there. It only matters that it happened on day 3. You can see that this is why this green line is going across all of these timelines, because it's checking all of the timelines for the objective. And to come off of that, you can also see this as all of these timelines happening at the same time. So at the same time as this guy going from here to here, this guy hits the enemies, this guy teleports out of nowhere, this guy also spawns on top of this guy and kills him, this guy also spawns on top of him and kills him. You can also see that there are a lot of versions of me, and that's because every time you time travel, your past self still exists, so you can just kind of move them around. But the other thing is that they also age, so you can see that this guy is very old. In this video, I want to show kind of the whole journey that this guy had to go through to get this box on the circle. It's a big combination of a bunch of other versions of himself creating their own timelines while he hops around and tries to get the box to the correct square. The cool thing about multiverse time travel system, not only in this game but in 5D chess, is that you can actually see the entire game from start to finish in just a screenshot of it. This game is very complicated, but it is only one step at a time. After winning the level, you can kind of see all your timelines at once, but that's not how you really play the game. You'll have to move every character one step at a time, and that'll just kind of look like this at the end. For some context, here's some gameplay. It's just kind of, you can see that every time I move, all of my turns are saved. Need to go up there, but there's a mine, so I can't land it. So I'm just gonna go, actually, instead of doing that, I will just sacrifice my past self, and then just use my past self. I'll just go down here. So we could just win right now, but I like to kind of try to win on the earliest turn possible. So one thing you can do is actually stand on the box and then take it with you. So I'm just going to take it back to the very first turn. For this level, I can actually just move out of the way and then instantly win. This is because I've let this enemy hit the box and me at the same time, pushing the box onto the correct square. So this is kind of like a more reasonable amount of timelines. You can see how this can get more complicated if you just keep going. There is no limit to how many timelines you can make, so you can just make as many as you want. So So now I'll show how this guy made it all the way over here. I did make all the turns and movements, but I do not remember them, so let's let's see how this goes. This guy is our time traveler. You can kind of see in the background there's this purple residue. That means that this is where he time traveled from, and this arrow comes from this timeline, where he actually spawned the timeline from here, but he came from this other timeline over here. You can see how from here he disappears and then teleports all the way over here. And then a few turns ago, he actually came from this other timeline, where he spawned here from this other timeline. Along the way, he finds other versions of himself at different stages of their time travel journey, because that's just kind of what happens when you're traveling through the multiverse. And this timeline actually came from this old guy spawning into here, coming from this timeline. Which is also kind of funny because this is actually the timeline that creates the final turn. Not only has this guy created the timeline for him to eventually finish the level, he was also someone who actually came from the timeline that would eventually finish the game. And he actually comes from killing this enemy through a timeline travel after another timeline travel from this point in time. And eventually, if you trace back the exact point in time where he started, it will always come back to this guy. So every single one of these red guys, and I'm not exaggerating, every single one of these red guys are this guy. One thing that I like to think about is just how insane it looks from the perspective of one of these guys, because all they're seeing is just some guys popping into existence and then popping out of existence randomly. So you can see here, this guy kind of just pops out of existence, and then the enemies just have to go to this guy, which he eventually dies. Nothing really happens, and then this guy pops into existence randomly and disappears. And then a few turns later, some guy pops into existence, goes up, disappears. It makes sense in context, but it's just kind of crazy and insane when you zoom in and imagine it as just these guys trying to live their life. As I said, we'll make a video going more in depth on the specific ways that I kind of encourage time travel and kind of just the rest of the mechanics in the game. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is pretty cool.